If we are going to look at CellBIM data and versus or how BIM object families work with CellBIM and their data that we give it, it's important to understand that CellBIM reads data directly from a BIM model, or even call it a Revit model or an IFC. It does not interpret a drawing like a human does. It reads what the model tells it. And that means the model must be built in a well-structured, call it a Revit family. Those families, if they are poorly set up, then the data that CellBIM receives will be incomplete and inconsistent. And that reflects within the quantities. Remember, CellBIM is not a guessing game. It's not ChatGPT or any of the other LMM systems. If a wall or a slab, or even for the fact, let's say a door, as in this picture, is not clearly defined, and we don't know its size, or if the material is incorrect, CellBIM cannot rely on the measure or can't just accept the data. So it's important to understand that Revit families are the containers of truth, or any other IFC family or model properties is the container of truth. They hold the quantities that we need to push that data through to CellBIM or Costos. So consistency is what creates reliable quantities. CellBIM is only as good as the data that it reads. So always remember that when you're receiving these models. And that comes down to 2D is different to 3D. So in a BIM model, you have these objects. And it's important to understand what's in those BIM objects. In a digital model, an object must contain the information that defines it. So it's not just a shape. It has product data sheets. It has dimensions. It has digital imagery. And I think that's the critical distinction between what AutoCAD does for 2D and what Revit does for 3D. So in many cases, teams rely heavily only on the dimensions in the 3D models. Right? So if it's set up incorrectly, then the intelligence that it carries will be misinformed. So in a 3D model, the object itself holds the data, and that data is only as reliable as the standards used to create it. So it's really important that don't just assume that your design team know what you're wanting. Right? A good example is, let's say, this pump that you see in this image here. The object is parametric. It can also contain predefined types. Right? And that object is inserted into the BIM model. Those parameters are defined by the person who created the family in the design software. And that was based on their logic or the way they had structured Revit. And as a result, sometimes you might have two similar objects that share the same geometry, but they're completely different, or they have completely different properties in Revit. And this is why understanding model data is absolutely critical for you to understand before you extract those quantities from the model.